What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Man, you guys are excited. Well, mainly it's one guy who's excited. This dude right here. What's up, JR? Uh, well, I don't know if I'm going to drop the nuggets that you want, but I'm going to drop my opinions and, take that for what you will. As I usually do on my show where I just talk into the void. What's going on, guys? Cuban Kane, what's up? Negas, what's up? All right, so a lot, if you're paying attention to, the coaching rumors and transfer portal and recruiting, especially the portal, we'll get to that, but a lot going on behind the scenes, nothing as far as an official commitment or well, that's not true. Let's get to the official stuff first. As I said in the title of this video, thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. Aaron Feld and Alex Mirabal, who we all expected to be part of the staff. I mean, no one's shocked there. They were officially named just, now that all the bowl games pretty much have been played except for like two, I think, the national championship. And I think there's like one more game that for some odd reason is played after all the major ones. It was always like the GMAC Bowl when I was younger. I don't know what it is this year because they always keep changing them, but whatever. Anyway, all the bowl games are played. Oregon's done playing. Coach Aaron Feld and Coach Alex Mirabal have now been named officially to the Miami staff. I could not be more excited. Aside from, having known Coach Mirabal, personally growing up, he coached and taught at the same high school that I went to. So I've seen firsthand the influence he has on young men, on players. The players love him pretty much, universally. And, I can't say enough like what an impact he's going to make, especially to the trenches, because the trenches, both offensively and defensively, I would say, but especially on offense, that has been what's been lacking since, 2003, 2004. And, I can't remember the last time this O-line unit just cranked out, first and second round pick after first and second round pick since like 03, 04. So, yes, Alex Mirabal, obviously we've beaten this horse to death. That is a huge get right there. Not just in player development, but in recruiting, just across the board. Culture change in the locker room. Trust me, you guys, the guys who are not familiar with him as a coach, you're going to love him. So that's that. Aaron Feld, strength and conditioning coach. Zach, agreed. A great O-line does solve a lot of problems. I mean, I'll give you an example. Look at the Tennessee Titans. Pretty much smashing my Dolphins at the point of attack in the trenches. It didn't matter that they didn't have Derrick Henry. Their O-line just completely wore down the Dolphins' defensive line, which is not a bad defensive line. So there you go. You will not be a great team and you will not dominate unless you shore up that front line. So Mirabal and Cristobal together, they're going to make sure and do that. And obviously Aaron Feld, we all know the legend that is he. He's finally down here officially, and I believe he's bringing like a team of guys to help whip this team into shape. Not that David Feely wasn't doing a good job already. I thought he was for the most part, but Feld is considered one of, if not the best strength and conditioning guys in the game. So that could be a very nice upgrade there. Supreme, what's going on? Finally, things are moving. Feld is going to get the boys ready to compete with the best of them. Yeah, I think a combination of that guy on this coaching staff and Cristobal going after a certain body type. And we've already seen it, I think, with the guys like Jacob Lichtenstein, for example. He has, I believe, officially signed or anything, but he's committed, via the transfer portal from USC. Lichtenstein is, as a junior, 6'6", 270 pounds. athletic enough to play a little bit on the outside. But to me, that body type screams 3-4 defensive end, which then gets me thinking, what kind of defense are we going to run? Is it going to be the same old, 4-2-5? Is it going to be classic 4-3, multiple fronts? I think we're going to run multiple fronts based on who we're looking at, because that dude screams 3-4 D end, a guy that can set the edge and get after the quarterback, a guy with immense size that we don't usually have on the defensive line. Let's be honest, we haven't had that, aside from maybe Greg Rousseau. We have not had that kind of size and length, who's also a playmaker. So there's that guy. Then you got Cyrus Moss, who we're looking at. Cyrus Moss is a guy that does not put his hand in the ground. He is a guy that drops back as an edge, 3-4 edge rushing linebacker. Great length. He's a freak. He's 6'5". Used to be a safety. Kind of similar body type to, well, no, I wouldn't say similar body type to James Williams, because he's got a much wider frame, I think, whereas James Williams has got a much thinner frame, even though he's 220 but doesn't look it. This dude, Cyrus Moss, I think is going to be ideal to put on the edge in that 3-4 look if we go multiple packages, which it seems like that's what we're going to do. Let's see. You will not be a great team without a good and great QB/dude. Pitt and NC State beat Clemson because they had better QB. Miami beat both. Yeah. I can't disagree with you, especially in those games. I was at the NC State game, and let me tell you, Tyler Van Dyke was the difference in that game, because we made a ton of mistakes. Some say we should have lost that game, but we didn't. Great O-line play and great quarterback play can bail you out of those situations. I see Rob Mcclendon as co-OC along with that wide receiver coach, along with wide receiver, or with WE coach. Do you mean wide receivers? What is WE? So it makes me think that Dorsey is coming. I think, let's talk about the OC position for a second. Yeah, wide receiver. Okay, that's what I thought. I think it's going to be between Dorsey and Bryles. I was on Flo's show on Sunday, and Max and Rasta both said Dorsey. Listen, I'd be fine with either. The guy that I would pick between the two, I may surprise you. It might actually be Ken Dorsey if I really sit down and look at it. Aside from the whole that bit of a dark cloud that follows Bryles because the allegations and stuff, maybe that plays a factor into my decision. I don't know, but I just know that Chud has been connected to possibly being hired at Miami, maybe as an analyst or something like that. And we know that Rod Chazinski and Ken Dorsey have a great relationship. Who was the OC when Ken Dorsey was here? 2000 through 2002. 2001 and 2002, it was Rod Chazinski. 2000, it was Larry Coker. So they have a relationship. That makes me think that it might be Ken Dorsey. So I may change my answer from Sunday, because I said it might be Bryles, but you know what? I'd be fine with either. If you give me Dorsey, I'd be very, very okay with it, because for those who think he does not have experience calling plays, I'm one of the people that believe when he was quarterback here 20 years ago, he was with Chud calling half those games. It was almost like having a coach on the field. Randy, any word on DVD? The latest I'm hearing is it's basically between us and FIU. He has a choice. He can assume kind of an analyst position here, which would be obviously off the field. The money would be better overall. So if that's any kind of a factor for him, then, he might be leaning to staying at Miami, and also maybe, seeing some of the recruits that he's gotten over the last couple of years, maybe seeing that through. I would love to see him stick around, but he has a choice. He has that, or he can go to FIU. It might not be as much money, but he would be an on-field coach, which I've heard he does want to be on the field as a cornerbacks coach. So he would basically maintain the same role he had last year if he went to FIU. or he can take, I don't want to call it a demotion, but yeah, it is a little bit of a demotion, but a demotion on an elite staff that could win a lot of games. So that's your choice. Analyst in Miami, maybe win a lot more games, make a little more money, or roll the dice, bet on yourself, take your chances at FIU as a cornerback coach. That's basically his choice right now. I haven't heard anything beyond that. If DVD leaves or takes analyst role, who replaces him? Rob Chance is at Colorado. Rob Chance, that's a possibility. Or Abdul Rahim is a guy that I talked about on Sunday. He's been linked to possibly taking some kind of role here, maybe working with T-Rob. So bring him here, and he has a connection with Cristobal. He has a connection with Schumann. Just like I said a minute ago, Dorsey has a connection with Chud. This whole thing is about connections, I'm noticing. So if you read between the lines there, it could give you an indication of who might be coming. That's just my opinion. The lieutenant. If you don't know, on the Miami Flow chat, guys have different titles. Jay Canes is the lieutenant. What is Javier? Is he the sergeant, the captain? I forgot what Javier is. Someone remind me. Haven't seen him on my chat in a while. Wonder what he's up to. Dorsey has a better shot coaching the Finns. That would be a more natural fit for him. As a Dolphin fan, wouldn't hate that either. But man, it would be so cool to reunite Dorsey with the Canes and with Chud and help lead us to a national championship. Can you imagine if I don't think we've never had that. Ken Dorsey, imagine if he comes back, wins, I was going to say 2 national championships as a player, but he won 1 officially. He won a national championship as a player, got robbed of a second one. Then he comes back as a coach 20 years later and wins one as an offensive coordinator. I don't think we've had that at University of Miami. Somebody winning as a player and as a coach. Cristobal and he can do it together. But will Dorsey actually? No, I think Art Kehoe was the first one. Now that I think of it, because I think he was a player in '83. He is awesome. Would love that hire. Abdul Rahim, yeah. Let's see. Let me catch up on. Oh, I was just saying I haven't seen him in a while. The general, he's right there, right in front of my face. What's up, Javier? So we're going to be more balanced on offense. I understand the O-line coach and everything, but we have same players. So is the mentality changing? I think they're going to bring a different mentality. The culture is definitely going to change. A few guys may leave, but the guys that stick around may improve. I would love to see what a guy like Jalen Rivers or Zion Nelson or even Ja'Kai Clark, if he can take his game even to a higher level with Alex Mirabal coaching him. You know what I mean? So this is all about development. So I think though the guys that stick around could benefit from that. A couple guys may leave. I'm not going to lie to you. Some guys are going to leave because some guys, it's going to be a culture shock. Going from Manny to Mario, night and day difference. Some guys are going to love it. Some guys not so much. So the ones that do stick around, I think, could improve. And I think we're going to add some portal guys. I'll give you an example. I think someone brought him up. One second. I think it was Les. Here we go. I like the transfer portal. I think Brian Swoboda is his name. He's that big, and Les is not kidding. He's massive. I'm going to look up his height right now, but I believe he's 6'10". Let me see. He's a Swoboda. I think he plays. I'm getting a different guy on Google. Anyway, yeah. Brian Swoboda, I think, plays at Virginia. He would probably come in as a right tackle. He's 6'10", 320, 330 pounds. Massive dude. Massive dude. So you got the change in culture, developing players a little bit better, and bringing in 1 or 2 portal guys, plus maybe a couple of recruits. I think that's where you'll start to see the change. It's not going to be from what we are to number 1 O-line in the country in 1 year, but I think you're going to see quite a jump, especially if Jalen Rivers stays healthy, because I think he's our best O-lineman. Could you imagine how great TVD would be under Dorsey? Could you say Heisman? I think TVD is special enough that he can win the Heisman with anybody. But yeah, that's another pairing I would love to have. Let's see. Anything on Verse? Okay, so he's talking about Jared Verse, that edge rusher from Albany. I know what you're thinking. Albany, very small school, but hey, Khalil Mack went to Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. So Jared Verse is a dude that has great size, insane athleticism. He's a freak off the edge. Very raw still from what I hear, but that's a guy that can come in and get at least into the rotation right away. And we need that because unfortunately, the previous regime did not build depth in certain areas because we were going portal every year. One of those areas is defensive end. What are we left with at DN right now? You got Jafari Harvey, who I've always liked. You got Chance Williams. You got, now you got Lichtenstein, who's going to kind of move in and out. I think he's too big to just be on the edge. Nigel E. Kelly coming in, but he's a true freshman. You got, I'm forgetting it, Jabari Ishmael from Columbus, Elijah Roberts. So you got a few guys, but nobody that's really like, you don't have a Jalen Phillips right now. You don't have a Greg Rousseau right now that you're like, ooh, this is his year to break out with 15 plus sacks. You don't have that guy on the field right now. John, when are you going to get that chat room? We need you in there. I'm going to be more active in there, man. It's just during the day, I am so swamped at work. But I'm like, I keep an eye on it. I take peeks. Yes, Javier is the general. Chud and Arquijo. Oh, Chud was a player too. You know what? Scratch what I said earlier. Yeah, there are quite a few players that played here and won a championship as a coach. Never mind. I think there's about 4 or 5 now that I think of it. Rob is an understatement. NCAA didn't want us to win another one. I cried when we got screwed against Ohio State Suckeyes. Man, I remember that to this day. I remember exactly how I felt when I almost ran out the door to celebrate, and they called me back in to tell me a flag had been thrown. Yeah, 6'10", 300-pound right tackle. Yeah, it's Brian Swoboda from I'm not sure if I spelled it right. Maybe that's why it didn't come up in Google. Brian Swoboda is how you pronounce it. Right tackle or offensive tackle, plays, I believe, at Virginia. And he's in the portal, played at Virginia, and he's in the portal right now, has been talking to Mario. And that's just an example of the type of guy Mario wants to bring here. He not only wants to change the culture, he wants to change the DNA of this team, both physically and mentally. What's going on, Wesley? Yeah. Great O-line will help the team. No disrespect to Flag, but Flag leaves is good for us and him. Whoever leaves, I wish them the best, obviously. I hope Flag can find a role on this team because I think he's got potential. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Because Diaz sucks. That is because of my my comment about not leaving behind depth. Yeah, there's certain areas we don't have depth because who was it that he was on Orange Bowl Boys? It was Joaquin Gonzalez. Brought up a great point that Manny Diaz was talking to Spencer Rattler about possibly coming here. And it's like, wait a minute, you got TVD, you got Jake, you got Jacurri coming behind him. You must have no faith in your player development whatsoever because you just you're going heavy portal every year. And those guys are basically starting, almost all of them. So yeah, if you keep doing that, if you keep getting these 1-year rentals, you're not building depth. You're not getting a guy that's going to stick around 3 to 4 years. You're getting a guy 1 year, he's a rental, and then you got to start over. And if you get that guy, maybe somebody in that position group leaves. And Joaquin also made the point that Cristobal, who left Oregon when he was there, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure a few guys left, but I mean, did any big names leave that team? I honestly can't think of it. Okay, we got a transfer from Buffalo. It was pretty good. Yes, we did. KJ Osborne, that's right. Yeah, so big school, small school, I don't care. If you're a leader and you're a playmaker, back to Jared Verse. I'm jumping all over the place. Jared Verse is a dude, a very talented dude that a lot of teams are after. We are on his short list. And I heard that Mario is, of all the coaches at Miami, Mario is the one talking to him the most. He's like leading the charge in the staff, talking to him. So that's leadership by example. That's something previous regimes, not just the last one, haven't shown. When will the rest of the coaches be known? Patience, my friend, patience. Should have been 3 straight. Yeah, 2000 through 2002. What would the score have been against Oklahoma in 2000 in the Orange Bowl? Playing at home, playing at the time it was Pro Player Stadium, I think it was called. You know, right in our backyard. Imagine playing that game against Oklahoma, which had Josh Heupel as their quarterback, barely squeaking by teams the entire season. We would have won that game by at least 40 points, in my opinion. I mean, we would have just destroyed them. The 3 best teams in the country that year by the end of the season were Miami, Florida State, and Florida. And no other team was close to those 3 teams. And guess what? We beat Florida and Florida State. Anyway, I can do a whole episode on that. Blowout City. Uh-huh. I can't name a guy on that team, to be honest with you, aside from Josh Heupel. Could you name NFL position coaches that went down? NFL position coaches that went down to the college level? I'm sure there's been a bunch, but I can't, off the top of my head, I can't name any. Even Herbie said today Miami got screwed by the referees against Ohio State. He really said that? That's crazy because Herbie went to Ohio State. If I'm not mistaken, he was a quarterback for the Buckeyes back in like the early 90s or something. Let's see. When will the rest of the coaches be known? Okay, back to this question. So, all right. I'll give you the rundown of what I know about the coaches so far. So here's the guys that are official. Alex Mirabal, Aaron Feld are official. Joe Salavea and Brian Mcclendon are, it seems like from reports that they're basically done deals, just dotting I's and crossing T's, I guess. Great hires, by the way. Brian Mcclendon, just to touch on him really quick, he would be coming in, it's rumored, as a co-offensive coordinator, which would make sense with, you know, maybe pairing him with Dorsey. It would be his first time officially calling plays, so you don't want him maybe by himself. You got those two, maybe Chud behind the scenes, you know, helping them. I think that'd be a great combination. So you got those guys, and then Brian Mcclendon as a recruiter. I mean, just to get him on the staff as an ace recruiter, look who he's brought in. Let me give you some names of who he's gotten as commits all time. Todd Gurley, Isaiah Crowell, Lorenzo Carter, Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, and the list goes on. Those are just some of the 5 stars he's gotten. There's a few other 5 stars that don't have as big a names as those guys, but the guy, yes, Philly, you said it. He's a beast of a recruiter. Beast of a recruiter. So just adding him, and then, you know, maybe they give him the co-offensive coordinator title, you know, to bump up, to make it more enticing for him. Possible. That's possible. Whatever. He's on the ship, and he's going to get us. He's going to bring some monsters down here. So let's see. Aaron Frazier. Miami would have smoked Oklahoma. FSU was missing Greg Jones and were one-dimensional, only could try to pass. Miami and OO could run and throw to the tight ends. Yeah, we were a balanced attack, especially at the end. That's interesting. I actually didn't know Greg Jones was missing for that game. That would explain something. But even then, I still don't know how FSU lost that game. They could have thrown the ball every play and should have won. Like, they could have told Oklahoma, we're running this play. With the talent that they had at the time, they should have won that game. Hey, but whatever. I know Mark Richt was on his way out. We would have smoked them 100%. So Brian Mcclendon, that's who we'd be getting, assuming it is a done deal. Let's see what happens over the next day or so. And as far as coaches, like I said, that Dorsey-Chud connection, maybe there's something to that. Maybe Ken Dorsey will be the offensive coordinator. We'll see. I'd be very okay with that. I'd be okay with Briles. Right now, it's, I think, between those two, unless there's another guy that comes into the fold late, which could happen. You never know. So that's on the offensive side. Defensive side of the ball, it seems like the favorite is Glenn Schumann, who's currently the co-defensive coordinator and linebacker coach at Georgia. Georgia, in my opinion, has had hands down the best linebacker play for years now. And this season was no different. They might even beat Alabama in the national title game. So if he's named as the DC, no hesitation, sign me up. Yeah, that is huge. That is huge. And aside on the offensive side of the ball, I said the O-line that has been a problem area for close to 2 decades now. The problem area on defense, more than anything, has been consistent linebacker play. We've had spikes. We've had, here and there, we had Perriman, and then we had Quarterman and Pigney for a couple of years. But, don't get crazy. Don't get crazy. Why? What did I say? Well, I say a lot of crazy things, but what did I say that was crazy? Why not just Kendall Briles for OC and his daddy for QB coach? You think Art Briles will come here just as a quarterback coach? I don't know. Tatum Bethune signing soon. Okay, so I wanted to touch on the portal. Linebacker, like I said, a problem area on and off for years, for the last close to 20 years now. Georgia beating Alabama. You never know. You never know. It's a hell of a Georgia team. They have been down to their backup quarterback all season. That's not good. But, all right. So Tatum Bethune, for those who don't know, there's a couple of names that have come up in the portal for specifically at linebacker. One of them is Tatum Bethune. Another one is Chris Mole. I'll talk about both of them because I watched their film earlier today. Tatum Bethune is a dude with really good size. I think he's 6'1", 6'2", 225. What I love about him, good size, athletic, but he fills the stat sheet. I would prefer someone who fills the stat sheet over somebody who looks great height and weight-wise, but this guy brings both, okay? He had 100-plus tackles this season. He had a couple interceptions, a couple of deflected passes, a few sacks, a bunch of TFLs. He had a little bit of everything, right? So that, to me, is number one target at linebacker so far of the guys I've seen. Chris Mole, he's middle linebacker for UAB. He's dealt with some injuries the last couple of years, but 2019, which was his last healthy season, Chris Mole also, was a 100-plus tackle guy. Freshman. Tatum Bethune is a freshman? I think you're right. Let me confirm that. Tatum Bethune. I think you might be right about that. I know Chris Mole's he would come in as a redshirt senior. I think he's down to his last season. Tatum Bethune's a junior. But yeah, listen to these stats in 2021. 108 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 interceptions, 1 deflected pass. Yeah, does a little bit of everything. So, no-brainer for me. That's your number one take. Chris Mole would be the next guy who, last time he was healthy, I thought looked really solid. He also is a guy that does everything well. Good, defender of the pass, good, pretty good run stopper, good blitzer. He's from Miami, I believe, Coral Gables High School. And then Tatum Bethune is from Miami Central. So both local guys. Kind of no-brainers there, in my opinion. If you can get both, even better. Because if we're going to run multiple looks and do 3-4 where we got 4 linebackers on the field, we need bodies. I love Chase. I love Wes. but Wes is a little green. He's going to need a little time before he can just – a lot of people think he'd just step in and start. I don't know about that. But I love Wes. I love Chase. I love the potential there. But you need a couple more bodies. Experienced bodies, that would be great. All right, Anthony says, John, with Miami announcing Brian Mcclendon as their assistant OC, does that actually limit on who we hire for that position? Because I don't think Kendall would want to be an assistant OC. That's another great point, and another reason why I think it might be Dorsey now. Because I think, again, Dorsey being a guy who hasn't, again, officially called plays, might benefit from a little help. Get a guy there, and then get a guy who's a little more proven on the defensive side of the ball. Like Glenn Schumann, for example. Let's see. How the hell is Georgia a favorite? I hope they win. Usually when teams face off for the second time, the team that lost has a little bit of an edge because they know what not to do. And they're also playing with a little bit more of an edge. I think it was Herb Street or Pollock, one of those guys made a great point, that Georgia did not have the same sense of urgency that Bama did. Bama needed to win the SEC title game to get into the playoff. It was one and done for them. They had to win that game. Georgia, even losing, knew they were probably still in. Now, it's for all the marbles. It's for the championship. They already got their ass kicked once. They got embarrassed. That's why I think Georgia would be the favorite. Now, back to Anthony's question about Mcclendon. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's why one of the reasons I'm leaning towards Dorsey now. And also, Jim, I wanted to touch on this. Jim Mastro, who we all know was rumored to come here as well, kind of a last-minute flip, decided he wanted to stay on the West Coast, citing family health issues or something like that. You know, wish him the best. Hope everything's all right there. But we all thought he was coming here. Turns out he's not. I'd honestly be fine with Hickson. You guys let me know who you might like a running back coach, but I think we're good there as far as the talent we've been bringing in, developing our backs. You just got to shore up the trenches and open holes for those guys. Bethune's choosing between CANES and FSU tomorrow. I don't know. Is that the choice? Is that what he's doing? And it's not just him. I think Jared Verse is announcing tomorrow as well. I think he's supposed to announce Wednesday. If Dorsey don't call plays, I don't want him then. Give me a vet play caller. I don't blame you for thinking that. I just think the guy's going to be really good. We all know how smart he is, as Wesley just said. So as long as you give me experience on the defensive side, I'm okay with, a little bit of an experiment, but kind of a proven experiment. This is a very calculated risk because we've seen Dorsey at the NFL level. And I like what I've seen so far, developing quarterbacks and all that. And that's at the NFL level, okay? So, but we'll see. I could be wrong. He might not be coming at all. Kevin Smith smoke at running back. Yeah, rumors there. Hickson. I'd be fine if Hickson stayed. People count the natties and the obvious Ohio State shakedown, but there were years that the polls and officials hosed us before the season's end. It could be closer to 10 natties if fair play was at play. That's interesting. Well, I will tell you this. 1988, which was the Catholics versus Convicts game, where Cleveland Gary did not fumble. Go back and watch the game if you don't know what I'm talking about. Well, half the chat, I'm sure, at least knows what I'm talking about. Our running back, Cleveland Gary, on a little dump off, scores what would have been the go-ahead touchdown late in the game. And he stretches the ball across the goal line. So breaks the plane, puts the ball down and his knees down and everything. Lets go of the ball. He's going to celebrate. The refs call it a fumble. Obvious hose job there. We end up losing the Catholics versus Convicts game, even though we should have won, even though we were the better team. We go on to the Orange Bowl that year. We waxed Nebraska for the umpteenth time and had the refs been fair in that Notre Dame game, we would have been undefeated and won the national title that year. So it would have been 87, 88, and 89. We would have three-peated. But that's just me. Let's see. Kelvin Smith might be a better recruiter than Hickson. Who are we getting as running back coach? Kevin Smith. I'll tell you right now. Kevin Smith. Very specific. No, not the filmmaker. Kevin Smith. Running back coach, Ole Miss. Believe that. Yeah, Ole Miss is where he's at right now. Yeah. And hey, he's from hometown Miami. Oh, he picked FSU? Let's see. The chat is saying that Tatum Bethune has picked FSU. Yeah, if more of you guys can confirm that, that'd be great because I want to be like looking at Twitter while I'm on with you guys. Let's see. Randy Noel. I hate Lou Holtz. I'll put up JJ against him. Yeah. No Kane fan likes Lou Holtz. What top team doesn't have co-coordinators on both sides of the ball? Bryles not wanting to share a title is ridiculous. That's a decent point. Hey, Georgia has it. Does Alabama have co-coordinators? I don't even know. I couldn't, off the top of my head, I couldn't name them right now. Let's see. All right. So what else we got? I'll be on for like maybe 10 more minutes, guys. Please, if you haven't, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate the support. As I told you guys, I have a goal of hitting 10,000 subs in 2022. Come hell or high water, I'm going to hit that. But please, with your help, it'll help me get much closer. So please hit the subscribe button and hit that like button. John, if we hire DC that's a linebacker coach, do we still hire a guy like Chris Robinson for that position? And also, do we hire DB coach like Corey Bell, move DVD to recruiting? Well, DVD, like I said, if he stays, it's going to be an analyst position. There's no reason to believe that T-Rob is going anywhere right now. And yeah, so I think if we bring in Schumann, the only guy I'm wondering about is Coach Ish. Because I believe he's still on the staff. So that's the only dude I'm worried about. There's room right now for Schumann to come in and coach the linebackers and be the DC, in my opinion. So, I think you bring him in, you could pretty much plug him in and leave, T-Rob and all those other guys kind of where they're at. You got Joe Salovey at defensive end. I mean, that's a pretty elite defensive staff, if you ask me. Let's see. Whoever goes to FSU, good luck. We're going to kick their T2. What about T2, Jake? Oh, right. I know somebody brought up T2. Yeah, let me answer that question. Was T2 a take? I'm going to say, this is my opinion. I'm going to say he wasn't. I'm going to say that this was a situation, I think, that if Mario really wanted him, he would have gone to get him because this was the number one linebacker in the class last year. And as a talent, as a pure talent, yes, you absolutely want him on your team. However, it's not just the talent. You got to look at everything. You got to look at his off the field stuff and all, yada, yada. So maybe Mario didn't like what he saw. That's my opinion. But, he committed to Central Florida. Congrats to them. They got a hell of a linebacker. And look, the big three of, Miami, Florida, and Florida State, neither took him. There were a lot of other big schools that could have gone after him. Why isn't a Georgia or Bama or LSU or somebody like that, trying to woo him? I don't know. Why does he end up at Central Florida? Him going to UCF, people all of a sudden made assumptions like, oh, Miami missed out on him. He might have just not been a take. Who knows? That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, I agree, Philly Kane. Good luck to him at UCF. I hope he balls out. I hope he becomes a first round pick up there. I hope he, gets whatever he needs to get together and he balls out over there. Because he also had the knee issue. That's the other thing. A lot of people forget that. He played his entire senior season of high school with a torn ACL. So were they able to repair that properly? That's the other thing. Maybe Mara didn't want to take the risk there. John, any update on where we're at with Florence and Moss, especially with Florence? Do you think we're so far behind with him that he might just end? I think we're definitely much closer to getting Moss than we are to Florence. Of the guys that are announcing Saturday, I believe Moss and Kevin Coleman are announcing at the All-American Bowl Saturday. I think we land one, if not both. Coleman is the one I like the most between the two. But if we're going to land two, I think it's Coleman and Moss. I don't think we get Florence. That's just my gut telling me. But let me address this one really quick. Norman, thank you very much for the dono. Great show, John. Let's go Canes. Any truth UGA is going after T-Rob? I'm sure there's truth to that. T-Rob, I think, is second only to Corey Raymond and maybe one other guy in the country as far as a DB's coach. And that's as a recruiter and developer. T-Rob can do both. So it doesn't get, aside from Corey Raymond, it does not get better than T-Rob, in my opinion. There's not many better guys. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of schools trying to poach him away, But hopefully he sticks around. I love T-Rob because this will be the first year. Man, T-Rob with Schumann, the kind of defense they can run together. Oh, with bump and run corners. Imagine an aggressive defense that actually jams the receiver at the line. How's that for a concept? John, what's up with the defensive tackle that was committed to Oregon? Oh, that is, are you talking about Jonah Lalu? Jonah Lalu? I think that's his name. I could be butchering his name. I'm hearing that we're talking to him, if that's who you're referring to. We can definitely, Liechtenstein was a great step in the right direction, but we need to add more size, more beef to that defensive line, if you know what I'm saying. A lot more beef because, Manny was totally cool with quickness and athleticism, and that's fine. Maybe at one time that could work, but I don't know. I think you gotta have a mix of two. You gotta have those D tackles up front that could just maul people. Those like a guy like Jason Jones. I think Jason Jones committed to Auburn, didn't he? Let's see. Yeah, back on December 24th. Transfer from Oregon to Auburn. Yeah, that would have been a nice dude to yeah, he committed to Auburn about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that would have been a nice monster to just plug into the middle. We've gone after certain guys like that, but like a guy that I liked during the Al Golden era, Curtis Porter. I don't know if you guys remember him, like a 340, 350 pound dude. He was just a plug in the middle. But unfortunately, with that body type, couldn't play every single down from what I understood. So, we didn't have that nose tackle that can play 75% of the snaps and just dominate the middle. We haven't had that in a long time. We may have that now with Leonard Taylor, but again, even he's more of a leaner, more athletic defensive tackle. We need a dude we need just beef in the middle of that line and quickness and athleticism on the outside. So you need both. And I think Mario understands that. But Alex, what's going on, man? Good to hear from you. And no problem if you're late to the party. You can always rewatch squad this thing. You can always rewind. You could always, wait till I'm done and go back and listen to it again if you want. Hit that like button, log into your burner account, hit that like button again, hit the subscribe. It's all good. Kendrick Norton. I knew there was someone recently. Yeah, Kendrick Norton was that guy. should have stayed another year. He and RJ McIntosh both. It's unfortunate. I mean, can you imagine a defensive line with RJ, Norton, and Gerald Willis that following season? It would have been ridiculous. I mean, we already had a top 5 defense in 2018. But imagine those 2 D tackles stick around. I mean, maybe we will have won 1 or 2 games, 1 or 2 more games than we did that year. Maybe those guys get drafted in the 2nd round as opposed to the 6th round. But that's another avenue I can go down. Guys that have left too early the past 2 decades. We need someone like Vince Wilfork. Yeah. Let's see. Adam Atlas. Good evening, John. Glad to have a new strength and conditioning coach aboard. It looks like Mcclendon is coming as co-OC/running backs coach. Is he coming also as the running back coach? Is that what it's going to be? Because then I would wonder what happens with Hickson. I mean, I'd be okay with that because I reeled off some of the guys that he's gotten. He's gotten, he turned Georgia into running back U pretty much. Sony Michel, Todd Gurley, Isaiah Crowell, Nick Chubb. Those were all Brian Mcclendon, which is, I mean, that's just stupid. That's just 5-star after 5-star at one position. So, yeah. No, he's not coming as a running back. Yeah, I think he's just coming as co-OC. That's what I understood. But if it's to coach running backs too, hey, I mean, Mario has a plan. No, wide receivers. Okay. Yeah. He's coming to co-OC and wide receivers. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think he was coming to coach running backs also. With Feld, the strength and conditioning, do we have a strength and conditioning department, say 7, 8 people? Yes. From what I understand, Coach Feld is bringing a team of guys. He's bringing a nutritionist. He's bringing, I don't know what else, this, that. He's bringing a team of guys. It's not just him. John, great story on Coach on Six Ring podcast. Oh, I got to go back and listen to that. Love a Six Ring show. That's Jazz Santana. So yeah, let's see. What else did I miss? Kids that are leaving early are getting bad advice 100%. And I know who they're getting bad advice from. My bad, got happy fingers typing. No worries. Yeah. It's co-OC and wide receivers coach. Yeah, that's what I thought. John, I want your thoughts. I have an idea. For the transfer portal, why not have to transfer windows, 2 transfer windows, one from January 1st to April 31st and one from June 1st to September 1st? Yeah, they're going to have to step in at some point and restrict this a little bit because I love that players – I'm in favor of the transfer portal for the most part. I'm in favor of the fact that players, they haven't enjoyed many other freedoms up until the NIL thing happened last year. But I would love – I love to see players having the freedom to, if they're at a school and they decided, they're young. Remember, they're 18 years old when they make this decision, sometimes 17 years old. And they decide after a season or two that wasn't the right place for them, and they decide to transfer. If regular students can do it, why can't an athlete? So I think they should have that freedom. That being said, all this jumping around that we see, it's basically like a free agency in college football. Welcome to 2022. Look at with Caleb Williams and all that. And there are certain things about the portal that I think hurts high school recruiting. But you gotta wait, hang on. Is that right? Only 9. Philly Kane, go back, leave the video and go back because that might refresh. I think it's, if you're watching, the likes stay put unless you refresh it or something. There's no way it's only 9 likes. If it is only 9 likes, that's crazy. We got to get that like count up. But yeah, I'm in. There's pros and cons to the transfer portal for sure. It's here to stay. I'm glad it's here to stay. But restricting it a little bit, or maybe only allowing them to transfer once or something like that, 65 likes. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you for checking. Thanks for checking, guys. Yeah. So anyway, having some kind of restrictions to it, which I think they're coming. It's not going to leave, a coach like Brent Venables high and dry where he's losing all his wide receivers. But then again, I see it from the player's perspective. The coach that recruited you leaves to USC. I should be able to follow him. It's a lot of gray area. 76, 77, 79, 82. It's going up. How much of a roster turnover do you think we'll see by spring camp? I said this on Sunday. I think we lose 9 guys. 9, maybe 10. I think it's only going to be 9 or 10 because in the summer, I think we lose a few more. So, but it starts in the spring. I think we lose 2 O-linemen just because, maybe some guys might not be all about that life when this dude, Coach Mirabal, takes over at that position group. And the dude is tough. I'm telling you right now, the man is intense. Players in general love him. Great recruiter, great human being. Joaquin Gonzalez credited him with his Hall of Fame induction speech. The first guy he named was Alex Mirabal because that's who coached him at Columbus. So we're going to lose a couple of guys there for sure. I think we lose 1 on the D line. That's 3. I think we lose at least 1 safety. Either, I'm not going to name who, but I think we lose at least 1 safety. That's 4. Let's see who else. Probably a linebacker. I think we lose a linebacker. That's 5. And maybe a D tackle. You think we lose 2 linebackers? I hope not. We need bodies. Manny's daycare center is over. So I think like around 9. I don't know why that's the number that's flashing in my brain. That's how many I think we lose by the end of the spring. No more tackling donuts. Yeah. No, it's going to be way more hard-hitting practices. Like the players are excited now, but wait till practice starts. The real dudes, they're going to lead this team to, future national titles. They're going to get separated from the guys that can't hang. And there's going to be quite a few that can't hang. I don't know who. I'm not going to name names because I honestly don't know who that's going to be until spring comes around. 87, 88, 89, 3-peat, 2000, 2001, 2002, 3-peat. No school's ever 3-peated. We should have done it twice. Agreed. 100% agreed. Don't want Ladson. I heard he stays hurt. Is that accurate? He's had injury issues, but the good thing about Frank Ladson, and Gio's talking about a wide receiver from Clemson who's in the transfer portal, who I believe has 1 more year of eligibility, if not 2, if I'm not mistaken. The good thing about Ladson is he's a big body, and we're lacking that in the wide receiver room. Let me see Frank Ladson's size really quick. I think he's 6'2", 6'3". Frank Ladson Jr., Clemson wide receiver. Let's look at ESPN. That's a updated height and weight. 6'3", 205. Okay, he's a bigger dude. He's probably going to put on a little muscle if he gets in Aaron Feld's strength program. Not the best stat. 18 in 2020 had 18 catches for 281 yards, averaged 15 yards a catch. His longest was a 54-yard bomb. I think it was for a touchdown. He's got some talent. He's from Miami. He's got some speed for being such a big guy, but he has not stayed healthy. That is true. That is accurate. The guy that I'm very interested in, and yes, he does not address the size issue in this wide receiver room, but the guy I'm very interested in is Mario Williams. Mario Williams is a dude that just hit the portal from Oklahoma today. All right. Well, correction. I believe they said he's planning on hitting the portal. That's what it said on Twitter. If he does hit the portal, then that is a dude I'm going after immediately. Like before I go after Frank Ladson, in my opinion. That's what I would do. Because Mario Williams, I'll give you his stats in a minute. Mario Williams, Oklahoma. This dude, I think, is only a freshman. Yeah, he's a freshman. He's a smaller dude. Smaller dude, but compact. 5'9", 186 reminds me a little bit of Brashard Smith, like that kind of body type. Maybe a guy you can use in the backfield a little bit. Had over 500 all-purpose yards. 35 catches, 380 yards, 4 touchdowns, a couple of rushing attempts. Yeah. He's a tough, smaller slot receiver. Do we have too many of those guys already with X and Brashard? Maybe when we add Kevin Coleman, perhaps, but adding a veteran to that group wouldn't be the worst thing. But wide receiver, I think we're finally in a place where I don't think we need a transfer. Before we did, we needed KJ Osborne when he came. We needed Charleston Rambo this year, whether you want to admit it or not. Some of those young pups like George and Brinson, they started coming on late, but we needed Rambo. We needed him. Now, George, Brinson, and Restrepo, the three amigos, they're going to be sophomores. They got plenty of experience. You got Keyshawn Smith. You got who else? Kevin Coleman if he comes in. You got and then at tight end, you got Will Mallory and Elijah Arroyo, who I really believe will be used properly in this new offense. You've got so many weapons. And guys with experience. It's not unproven talent. It's guys that have gone out and made plays already. I don't think we need a receiver to transfer in anymore. Ivy leaves. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Ivy and Blades are still around. I think, what is the status of Blades? The last I heard of Blades, he's still with the team. He's been working out, really been hitting the gym hard. Credit to him. He's really putting in work. That's what I've been hearing from people in the know. And he looks in phenomenal shape is what I'm hearing about Blades. Could that be to stick around and fight for a spot on this team? Could that be to test out the portal, test out free agency and see where he ends up? I don't know. I don't know if he sticks around, but I heard he's putting in work. I heard he's serious. Yeah, Frank Ladson, 6'3", 205. OU receiver just said, yeah, that's who I was talking about earlier, Mario Williams. I would take Mario Williams over Ladson. But again, I don't think we need to take a receiver. I think you save those spots for 2 linebackers, 2 defensive linemen. Well, you already got one in Liechtenstein. I think you need one more edge rusher. Maybe a Jared Verse would be a nice addition. 2 linemen, 2 linebackers, 2 O-line, and maybe a corner. Yes. Have you heard anything on Bethune and Mole? I think we take both. I would love to take both. Thing is, some guys in the chat were saying maybe 15 minutes ago that Bethune chose FSU. So if he did, then hey, best of luck to him. But if he's still available, yeah, I want Tatum Bethune. Let's see. I think he hit the portal already. Oh, Mario Williams official? Yeah, because they were saying he was going to. Yeah, he's from Florida too. Mario Williams, Sooner freshman wide receiver. Yeah. Actually, if you go way back, there's quite a few teams that have 3-peated and 4-peated. But yeah, no one in the modern era has done it. No. I think only Alabama's repeated recently, like once or twice in the last 15 years, but that's it. John, here's an idea for the NILs. Why not in the contract say that the kid you get, say to the kid you get some of the money when you start out, but the rest of it you get once you graduate with your degree? I was in favor of that, kind of escrowing that money. Yeah, you build up your funds. They set it aside for you, but are you saying maybe you have to go get your degree to be able to access those funds, or it's just when you leave the program? Because I'd be all for that. That way they know that that's building up for them, and they just gotta keep working hard and and get to the point where they leave the program. But then that might entice guys to, like, if they got 50 grand sitting there or 100 grand that they've accumulated and they got one more year, maybe they leave early just to access that money. That's the other thing you got to deal with. So I just thought of that right now. I don't know. All right, we're coming up on an hour, folks. Thanks again for coming on. 151 in the chat. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Take a couple more questions and then we'll get out of here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we got to have at least 2 wide receivers hit the transfer portal. Really? You think 2 receivers hit the portal? I mean, yeah, I think that's possible. Tanga, what's going on? Noman, how close are we to getting the running back from LA, Trevante Divine? Oh, well, I was thinking of, I had a note to talk about this one kid, Trevante Citizen, that one recruit from, where is he from? He's a 4-star running back. Let's see, Trevante Citizen. Yeah, number 13 player in the state. He's got an 82 grade on ESPN. He's a 4-star recruit. Yeah, apparently, the rumor is we're picking up steam there. We're gaining some traction. My bad, Citizen. Okay, yeah. Okay, I thought maybe that's what you're talking about. Maybe you had a typo or something. Yeah, Trevante Citizen. That I'm hearing we're in a good spot for him. I would love to add another running back to this room. People were saying we were crazy for having 5 or 6 guys in the room last year, but they were like, what were they saying? Yeah, we had going into last year, we had Cam, we had Jalen Knighton, and then you had Don Chaney, and then we had oh my God, Robert Burns, was that his name? Anyway, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. The 4th running back that we had last year. And people were saying, oh, no, we don't need more than that. All of a sudden, 2 of them get hurt and you're screwed. Yeah, you need at least 5 guys ready to go in that room. Nope, got to have that degree first. That's a good idea. That is an interesting idea, but, I don't know if yeah, Robert Burns, it was. I don't know if I would force guys to, because there's guys that are elite. Cody Brown. Well, that's this year. Yeah, you got Cody, you got Thad, you got Jalen, and you got Don Chaney. That's 4 guys. If you add a 5th guy, I will feel a whole lot better about my depth. And you might lose a running back to the portal. You got to consider that. So anyway, back to this. Yeah, I don't know if I would force guys to stay for that degree, because there's going to be some guys that are elite and they would be turning down millions of dollars to go in the draft as a junior and say they come back because they have to. They're going to want to opt out and just sit on the bench or whatever because they don't want to get hurt. And that's understandable, because if you're a number 1 recruit or a number 1 draft pick, that's millions of dollars. So yeah, I don't blame them for not wanting to get their degree in that case. I don't know. It's not an easy thing to figure out. Cam, Cody, Thad, Rooster, and Chaney. That's 5. Oh, for last year. Well, I guess we did have 5 last year. But anyway, my point is the room got very thin very quickly. That's my point. Yep, that's what I was saying. All right, guys. I'm past the hour mark. I'm tired. I think we're going to stop it there. Please go subscribe to Cafecito and Canes. Follow me at Cafe and Canes. There's my handle right there. Go follow me on Twitter. And yeah, we'll be back on next week. I'm going to try to get a guest on to chop it up and talk a little Canes football. we're getting closer and closer to that signing day that the old national signing day that's on February, but there's going to be, there's going to be some big names announcing this year. Shamar Stewart being one. Who nugget, John? All right. Here's a nugget. I'm feeling more and more confident that we land Coleman, Shamar, and Moss. I'm thinking now we get all three. That's my opinion. There's your nugget. All right, guys. Have a good night. Go Canes. It's all about the U, as always. Have a good night.